Just a couple of days ago, Japan got hit with another massive earthquake off the coast of Sendai. Tsunami followed as well. Luckily, it wasn't nearly as bad as the situation was 11 years ago that took off nuclear reactors, etc. But now that the dust is settling, we're starting to see how big of a disruption this is becoming to the automakers and their suppliers in Japan. So we're going to start over at Toyota's global newsroom. Just the day before, they posted April to June production plans. They're cutting production 150,000 units for the first quarter of the fiscal year of 2022. They've now taken into account the disruptions from the earthquake. So let's talk about which vehicles are affected, which plants, assembly lines, etc. Due to the part shortage resulting from suppliers affected by the earthquakes, additional adjustments will be made to production operations in some plants in Japan as follows. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience these adjustments may cause our customers and relevant suppliers. 11 of the 14 plants are affected production-wise. 18 lines out of the 28 lines total are affected. So we're going to start with the Motomachi plant. The GR Yaris is affected. The Crown, the Noah, the Voxy, the Mirai. Now the Crown could switch production plants because after this rear-wheel drive model is finished, that's based off the same platform as the LC, the TNGA-L platform, it could be going to the N platform, which is front-wheel drive. So anyways, the Noah and the Voxy, the mid-size minivans, and the fuel cell vehicle, the Mirai. So everything at the Motomachi plant looks like it's disrupted. Now, I believe it's also the Motomachi plant, I could be wrong, where Toyota and Subaru are building their EVs, the BZ4X as well as the Solterra. And if that's the case, that could mess up the launch dates and the availability of those fully electric vehicles as well. So period of product suspension for Motomachi is the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And looking at all the plants, it is just 3 days, but 3 days is a lot of vehicles that they're able to make at all of these plants. At the Takaoka plant, the Harrier, which is the same thing as the Venza, they don't make the Venza anywhere else, so that is going to affect the Venza production and availability here stateside. The RAV4, though, that's produced here in North America, whether it's Kentucky or Ontario. So the only RAV4s that I'm aware of that we get from Japan still are the plug-in hybrid. So that's really not going to affect us much on the RAV4 end. The Tahara plant, Land Cruiser Prado, Lexus GX, and the 4Runner. These are huge selling vehicles, especially stateside, the GX and the 4Runner, the Prado internationally. So that's really unfortunate. And then also the Tahara plant, the LS, the IS, the RC, the RCF, and the NX. All of these were already having production line shutdowns because of the supply chain disruptions before the massive earthquake. And now it's going to be, we're just adding insult to injury here. The Iwate plant, the CHR, and Aqua are affected again, just like they were in yesterday's press release, as well as the Yaris and Yaris Cross. The Miyagi Ohira plant, Yaris Cross is built there as well. Interesting. I wonder if they build maybe the hybrid at one of them. It's hard to say. The Sienta, which is, I believe, is another minivan. The Corolla Axio and the Corolla Fielder and the Japan Taxi. None of those vehicles come here. Land Cruiser 70 series, which is available in many parts of the world, the Middle East, South Africa, Australia. That's going to be affected at the Fujimatsu plant. The Yoshiwara plant, Lexus LX, guys, and Land Cruiser 300. If it wasn't bad enough, in Japan, there's already a 4-year wait list for both of those vehicles. It's just going to keep getting longer and longer. 4-year wait list, guys, in Japan, if you want those, because you have to keep in mind, Toyota will prioritize where they can make the most money on those vehicles. So they're going to prioritize exportation first and foremost. So the LX and the Land Cruiser, man, it's tough to see. Also, the Land Cruiser 70 being affected at that plant too, at the Yoshiwara plant. The Gifu Auto Body, the Coaster is affected. Toyota Industries Corporation, again, RAV4 production. Oh, and there's the RAV4 plug-in hybrid / Prime I was just talking about a second ago at the Toyota Industry Corporation plant. Hino Motors, Land Cruiser Prado, FJ Cruiser. Yes, they still build the FJ Cruiser. Unfortunately, we don't get it. Too many people's sadness. Daihatsu Probox is also affected as well. Now we're heading to automotive news for additional industry updates in Japan. Because of the earthquake, Toyotas are going to lose about 20,000 3,000 vehicles. Microchip maker Renaissance Electric said it has resumed partial test run production of 2 of the 3 plants near the quake zone. The third Renaissance plant at Yonezawa restarted all processes on March 18th and expects to return to normal operation levels on March 20th. Toyota supplier Denso said some of its factories in quake zone were damaged and are still being checked out. Other facilities are slowly coming back in line. A Denso spokesperson said the company could not say when full production would resume. Yikes. Hitachi Astemo, the Honda affiliated supplier, has suspended operations at 5 factories in the disaster area as teams assess damage to the facilities. Hitachi Astemo spokesperson said some factories were damaged, but the company doesn't foresee major disruptions, thankfully. The company is monitoring its own intake of components from lower tier suppliers and aims to begin a phased-in restart of its factory sometime next week. And just because the vast majority of Honda vehicles that we get here stateside are built here in North America, doesn't mean that these supply chain disruptions are local to Japan. A lot of these parts are still built for the vehicles here in North America, whether it's Hitachi Astemo or the Denso Corp and Renaissance too. So all these suppliers being affected, and you got to keep in mind all these plants are being massively affected by the disruption in highways, bullet trains, etc. in Japan. So guys, I don't think we've seen the last of this, and unfortunately Japan is just in the hotbed of seismic activity. They're going to have landslides, earthquakes, tsunamis. They also get hit with monsoons, aka hurricanes, and massive flooding they're not spared from either. So, and as we cover this news together through the years, I just hope that these periods of natural disasters get further and further spaced out. But we're going to switch gears here to the war raging on in Europe and how that's affecting suppliers in Europe. Now, you guys know I cover mainly Japanese and Korean cars, but what's interesting here is I'm not going to go too much into this article, Automotive News, but Ukraine is still pumping out some wiring harnesses made in German vehicles, Volkswagen, Mercedes, etc. That's absolutely insane. So they're right next to a bomb shelter if they need to take shelter. So they're risking their lives to work for these wiring harnesses companies. And I get it, you need to make money. So, you know, they're between a rock and a hard place. All the people in Ukraine are. Do I stay? Do I go? And maybe they're getting paid overtime or something, or, you know, 2.5. I have no idea what's keeping them there making wiring harnesses as people are dying and getting shelled and shot down in Ukraine. But anyways, I didn't cover this on the channel. I should have, because it was just such an interesting story. This cargo ship caught out in the middle of Atlantic, caught fire, full of Volkswagen Auto Group vehicles, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Audis, Volkswagens. It was like 4,000 vehicles went down. It looks like all these vehicles will be replaced by Volkswagen Auto Group, and it's just an insane story. I should have been covering it from the beginning, but it's not Japanese and Korean auto news, but I felt like talking about it finally here on the channel. So again, guys, sorry I don't have good news for you guys. It will be coming. I have car reviews coming. That's always fun. That's lighthearted news and reviews. Also, the channel will be going to Georgia to drive the N lineup from Hyundai. I'll be driving the Kona N, the Veloster N, as well as the Elantra N on a track. I need to make sure I buy some Dramamine because I do get motion sickness even if I'm driving hard on a track. And after that, I'll be testing out the BZ4X. I'm so excited. I know other media have already got the chance at the Subaru Solterra, which is the same vehicle. I don't know when embargo is going to end on all that, but guys, stay tuned to the channel. I just have so much exciting stuff to share with you guys as we progress through this year, and hopefully the world can stitch itself back together. We can't really control what Mother Nature does to us to a certain extent, but I can't wait for things to get back to normal in Europe. I think we're close. Fingers crossed, guys. I'll see you down below. If you enjoyed today's video and if you enjoyed these news updates about the industry, what's going on, make sure to smash the like button, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.